Hi. Let's see what's up with the Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation. Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation is the alternate version of Kinetic Bolt that has lower damage but enables the shotgun effect for its secondary projectile, so we're capitalizing on it big time by converging all the projectiles into a single spot, right where the enemy is. To cause all of these to hit the same enemy, you need a returning projectile support gem or Nimi's ring. Projectiles will return back to you. By standing on top of your target, they will all damage it. This damage is improved by far shot as returning projectiles have traveled a fair distance. DEADEYE is an obvious choice on account of the perfectly tailored passives, far shot, focal point, and endless munitions for 2 more projectiles. Gathering Winds improves mobility and DPS with a powerful tailwind effect. The build is also a power charge stacker. The new Ralakesh's Impatience boots will keep you at maximum charges, and while we're at it, Badge of the Brotherhood, Graven's Secret, and Malachi's Loop seem like the best in slot items to expand on this charge gimmick. It's a ton of elemental recoup, crit chance, and attack speed. To generate a lot of secondary projectiles, simply invest in additional projectiles. Another major improvement is brought by Sniper's Mark and Focal Point passive. This mark splits your projectiles. It is the most prioritized interaction, which comes before forking, chaining, and such. Its durability is low. It is especially vulnerable to big physical damage hits as we have no armor at all. The abundant evasion rating, spell suppression, life recoup, and life leech are still very high, and it's usually enough to protect you from dying too often during mapping. Clear speed is good even if you're shooting at random. You have a lot of chaining projectiles. Single target damage is the main feature of this build. It is high. There are no overly expensive core items here, so the starting price is reasonable. This specific variant of the build utilizes power charges alongside unique Malachi's Loop, Ralakesh's Impatience, Graven's Secret, and Badge of the Brotherhood. Nimi's is a ring we deem mandatory too. You don't want to use a support gem in your Kinetic Bolt setup instead of it. Replica Hyri's Ire is another unique item that is probably the best pick for this build. Malachi's Loop is used for 2 additional maximum power charges with no downside on account of Ralakesh's Impatience boots. It increases spell damage per power charge and grants some extra ES. Wrathpith Globe Shield is good if you have a somewhat high maximum life. You will sustain the life drain with instant life leech mastery. It grants a lot of crit chance and spell damage, which is 200% as effective on Kinetic Bolt. Replica Hyri's Ire is what we deem the best armor. It's perfectly suited for this build with its added lightning damage and tons of suppression. We have used Ralakesh's Impatience boots to be always on maximum power, frenzy, and endurance charges as they're all influential in this build. With Graven's Secret, you're able to generate absorption charges to recoup elemental damage as life, which is a potent defensive layer. The extra maximum power charge and a lot of lightning resistance are extremely fitting. As you have a lot of frenzy chargers, Badge of the Brotherhood Amulet seems like one of the strongest options. Frenzy charges will improve your DPS, and the cooldown recovery rate will enhance your Frostblink. Nimi's causes your projectiles to return to you, and it's far better than the returning projectiles support gem, which lowers the damage of returning projectiles by 60%. Dance with Death from Brutal Restraint causes your hits to be lucky, which is good with your low minimum and high maximum damage. It also causes your crit chance to be lucky, and it is helpful if you don't have it capped at 100%. The downside: an inability to wear a helmet and taking more damage from critical strikes is hindering, so you may consider not using it after all. Ancestral Vision is good if your spell suppression is capped at 100%. You can then gather the remaining 50% chance to avoid elemental ailments from your boots or jewels. Lightning Penetration, attack speed, and critical strike mods from Wrath, Haste, and Precision are of great value. Grace offers some defensive perks on the Watcher's Eye Jewel. A wand, ring, and gloves are of rare quality. These should be enough to cap your resistances, get you enough accuracy for 100% hit chance, and provide you with sufficient attributes. After that's done, look for attack speed, added lightning damage, and critical strike modifiers. We have also used Dance with Death, and you can't use Helmet with that keystone. It is however optional, you will probably need it for resistances. Our version of this build uses no helmet, but you may want to wear one still to gain various defensive and offensive mods listed here. Get a wand with a lot of increased spell damage, attack speed, added lightning damage, and lighting penetration. Critical strike mods would be great too. You can wear a rare body armor as well if you strive for more maximum life, elemental resistance, lower mana cost of skills, or higher critical strike chance. You can also use rare boots if you have a reliable source of frenzy and power charges, and it would require you not to use Malachi's Loop or Graven's Secret. Look here for movement speed, suppression chance, and basic defensive stats with Eldritch Implicits for brittle ground, cooldown recovery rate for movement skills, or chance to avoid elemental ailments. On your gloves look for maximum life, resistances, spell suppression, and attack speed here. Added lightning damage, extra evasion, accuracy, and chaos resistance are great additions. For Eldritch mods get increased attack speed, rage on hit, or increased effective marks. On a ring seek maximum life, increased elemental damage, attributes, especially strength, resistances, accuracy, added lightning damage, and reduced mana cost of skills if needed. Jewels shall get you increased maximum life, missing attributes and resistances, attack speed, and critical strike chance with crit multiplier. Added lightning damage can be found on searching Abyss jewels. The 2 additional projectiles from Dying Sun Flask are undoubtedly a major boost to your damage. For magic flasks, use a diamond, silver, jade, and a life flask with bleed immunity. Utility flask shall increase your critical strike chance, attack speed, and reduce mana cost of skills with their suffixes. Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation has lower damage and fires fewer projectiles than the original, but it excels at killing bosses. It's affected by spell damage modifiers despite being an attack. You're dealing mostly lightning damage which has a wide damage range. It's where the extra maximum damage from volatility will be especially good. It's even better if your damage is lucky. You shall also use Power Charge on critical, increased critical damage, lightning penetration, and fork for clearing, swapped with elemental damage with attacks for pinnacle bosses. Wrath adds lightning damage to attacks and grants more spell lightning damage for your kinetic bolt. Grace adds and increases evasion rating to evade incoming attacks. Precision adds accuracy rating and increases critical strike chance. Link 3 of these auras with Enlighten to make them reserve less mana. Use Haste as a temporary aura to boost your movement and attack speed. After linking it up with the Guardian's Blessing support, cast Haste on a minion to activate it. The minion will take a lot of damage because of that. Dark Marionette Spectre is a self-re-summoning minion that can host your Haste aura. Link your Spectre to meet shield support, it will stay close to you. You can also go for the regular Eldritch Battery and Divine Blessing combo given you have enough energy shield. Immortal Call vastly reduces physical and elemental damage taken for a brief moment. Link it to a cast when damage taken to trigger it after taking a lot of damage. Frostblink is a simple mobility spell to travel faster and dodge attacks. Shield Charge can also be used instead. Enemy marked with Sniper's Mark receives increased projectile damage, and projectiles hitting them split on impact. Link it with Mark on hit and Life Tap support gems. Berserk is an optional skill if you have one extra gem socket and a way to generate rage. It enhances the rage effect on you for a while. Slay all the bandits in Act 2, you will need the 2 extra passive skill points the most. For a major god, you can either pick Lunaris or the Brine King. Lunaris will improve your pace, and Brine King renders you immune to freeze while also preventing getting stunned multiple times in a row. Soul of Aberrath for 60% less duration of Ignite is quite likely the best candidate for a minor god. The passive skill tree aims to provide you with power charges, critical strike mods, and wand passives, which are located roughly at the top of the tree. Near your starting location, you will go for spell suppression, evasion, reservation efficiency, life and mana leech, accuracy, elemental damage, multi-shot notable, missing strength, and of course maximum life. For a keystone pick Ghost Dance and something to transform into Dance with Death, it's acrobatics in our case. For masteries, get 50 extra life as life mastery, elemental mastery for a chance to treat enemies' resistance as inverted, reduced extra damage taken from critical strikes as critical mastery, increased damage per any charge as charge mastery, mana reservation efficiency as mana mastery, 10% of leech as instant as leech mastery, and 2 wand masteries, one for additional projectile and another to make your spell damage affect wand attacks. If your spell suppression is not capped, get lucky spell suppression as suppression mastery. That is all there is to say about the kinetic bolt of fragmentation. Like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. See you in the next video.